Well, hello everyone. I'm Aurora Newton,
And I'm Angie Bailey.
and this is Ask the A Team. And so this morning, obviously, you can see that I have a little more makeup on than usual. So Angie did my makeup this morning, and I told her I've actually never had anyone else do my makeup. So that was a real treat for me. So then we got talking about, well, why don't we just discuss putting on a different face, or what are insides compared to our outsides? What are we portraying? So we're just going to kind of talk about that this morning.
Yeah. So I'm a beauty school dropout.
Beauty school dropout. Sorry.
Yes, heard that many times. That and Angie by the Rolling Stones, both of them get me. But anyway, I went to beauty school before I went to Bible college, and kind of towards the end of it, it was like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I dropped out. So I did Aurora's makeup today.
It's my makeup.
And when I got my highlighting palette out, highlights and lowlights, I made her make a face. You want to show them the face?
Oh my gosh.
Duck
I
face,
could barely
right?
keep
Like
a straight face, yeah.
Everybody knows that look. And she couldn't. She just kept laughing, and she kept, okay, now we're going to do it. But, you do that so you can see the cheekbones, right? And so why do you make faces? Why do you put on different faces for different people? I'm not against makeup. I love it.
I'm not against makeup either.
But what do we highlight and lowlight in our lives?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. For me, and I know for you too, Angie, we're believers. We believe in Jesus Christ. So we want to highlight Christ in our lives. Mm-hmm. We always want to live with that face on. Mm-hmm. And I was working with somebody recently that told me that they put that face on, that smiling face, and they are just always trying to portray that they're happy when inside they're really dying. But they're keeping it to themselves. They're not talking to anybody. They have no support around them. They have no accountability. Yeah. So they really are living that false life. So it is about putting on a smile on your face in this life and just feeling joy-filled sometimes when you don't feel that way, because physiologically and psychologically something happens. But if you're putting on a face all the time and you feel depressed or you have anxiety and you're just living in this place of terror and fear, you need to have an accountability. You need to have somebody that's going to help you put on a different face.
Yeah, absolutely. And, having those challenges, seasons in life, whatever you're dealing with, just like in highlighting, here I go with an Angie parable, just like in highlighting and doing your makeup, I had her smile like that so I could see her cheekbones, because you want to put like the darker part under the cheekbone, because you want the darker things to kind of go away and you want the lighter things to kind of come out. But that's the same thing in life, but without doing that you wouldn't have it. So those things in your life that are challenges and seem kind of dark, they're just as much as a part of your testimony,
right,
and a part of who you are and who your face is, as the parts that you want to highlight and bring out. And so they really can, with the grace of God and with Jesus in our lives and working on beautifying us, they become the highlights. That's what makes us who we are the parts that we want to kind of be in the background and kind of go away, and the parts that we want to bring up of ourselves. That's God's grace in our lives.
That is
overcoming with the word of our testimony. So,
and we've talked many times about the testimonies that we've had, and I have joked in my life that if I lived according to the world's standards, I would be on all kinds of drugs. I would be in the corner, balled up, a crying mess. Yeah. But I don't live according to the world's standards, because God has freed me from addictions, from sexual immorality. There's so many things that I have overcome. And I use that testimony. Yeah. I use those dark highlights in my life to really bring out the beauty of what God has done in my life and what He can do in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a part of it. I think so many people, when they come, when they want to just put on that smiling face and they just want the good things to be seen, that's why it can come off false.
Right.
That's why it can come off very one-dimensional, very fake. because it's the whole of what God has worked out in our lives.
Right.
The things, fortunate and unfortunate things that have happened in our lives, are what make us who we are. So without the darker things, without the low lights, the highlights aren't going to do very much good. Because honestly, basically, if all I put were highlights on her face, it wouldn't make much difference except she would just look shiny, right? Shiny's the thing now. A couple years ago, it was like everything needed to be matte. But if I didn't put the low lights on, this wouldn't have done much good. I mean, you still would have looked nice, but it doesn't. I mean, they complement each other.
Well, and there's something about walking into a dark room and seeing candlelight.
Yeah.
It just is so beautiful and illuminates the room.
Absolutely.
So without that darkness, light really can't
And
shine.
it really is the epitome of He can take all things and work them together for the good for those who love Him. Yeah.
Well, thank you for our little banter today about makeup. It was fun for me. I told Angie now she has to do my makeup every morning before I go anywhere.
I told her she needs to go on a date with Scott tonight.
Thank you so much for joining us. And if this video in any way touched you, impacted you, or if even it was just fun for you, please share it. We would just love to share with as many people as we can what God has done in our lives.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.